Welcome. This is Carol Moulton. Once again, welcoming you into Tea Time with Carol. Seems like we haven't gotten together in a very, very long time, but I'm here. I'm back pouring the tea. Got a little oolong for you today. Hope things are going well. I know that it's still looking crazy, but God is still on the throne. He's still loving on you, loving on me, protecting us, keeping us, even though it doesn't really feel like it with all of the stuff that's on the news and all the craziness. But I just want to give you a gentle word of comfort today. Um, I there's a something I want to share with you. Well, wait, before I do all that, because I'm ready to jump right in, because there's so much that I want to share with you today. But a couple of things first. Come on in, get situated. I've fluffed up the pillows for you. Pillows are all ready. Tea is all ready. Tea is poured. We're here. It's good. Um, but I just want to, um, if you've been struggling this week, if you have just found it this week difficult, impossible to get through, I just want you to pause for a second and just come on in. And I think there is something. I know there is something to encourage you and give you a word for right now. Um, and this may be part of the direction that we go in moving forward. You know, I'm a coach and I'm an executive coach, but one of the things that I feel led to do right now is to incorporate my faith with the coaching that I do, and we'll see how the Lord leads us in that direction. But what I want to share with you is a message from a daily devotional that I have, and it's written. It's called "I Hear His Whisper," and it's written by the gentleman, Dr. Brian Simmons, who wrote the Passion translation of the Bible, which is, if you're not familiar with it, I have probably, I don't know, 20 different Bibles, but this is one that I really recommend because it's it's grounded in scholarship, number one, but it's also grounded in really showing God's passion for you. And it's something that I really love. So I just want to start with it. This is short, so bear with me. It's very short, but it stands on Psalm 34, just a little bit. The Lord is close to all whose hearts are crushed by pain, and He is always ready to restore the repentant one. Even when bad things happen to the good and godly ones, the Lord will save them and not let them be defeated by what they face. So the reading is as follows, and this one is really good and I think really appropriate. It's called "Pain is Healed in My Love." So if you're experiencing physical pain or emotional pain or spiritual pain, this is a word for you today. Pain is healed in my love, in the safety of my love. This is where pain heals. Some wounds I heal slowly, with gentle warm breath that won't quench a sacred ember of hope. I bring you back to life, cradle you safely in my arms. Other times I come roaring with such passionate might that you're healed in an instant. No matter how I heal you, I do heal you. But you must let me. You must free fall off the edge of despair into unreserved trust in me and let go of this pain. Place it in my hands, my nail-scarred hands. Choose to relinquish the identity of your pain that you have connected with. Remember who I am, who you are. It's okay to feel pain, but it cannot define you, beloved. Give me your reasons. Give me your reasons for holding on to the pain. Surrendering does not make you weak, it makes you brave. Though it's scary at first, I will knock down those walls you've erected to protect yourself. Don't worry, I'll be right by your side. I love that. I love that. And I hope that that just resonated for you and you feel like, oh, God hears me. God understands, and that's a today word for what I've been experiencing. So, I want to share with you a little bit of a study that I did, um, and it's about Cain and Abel, and it's kind of a different kind of look at Cain and Abel. You may or may not be familiar with the story, but Cain and Abel were the first two sons of Adam and Eve. And it's kind of an interesting story. I think it's worth a relook. Cain was the elder, and his name, by the way, means acquisition. So, he was about, and if you read further into his story in Genesis, you see that he was about acquiring. When he left his parents after this happened, he was about acquiring lands and wives, and he acquired quite a bit. But initially, he and his brother were to make offerings to God. Abel's, the younger son, was accepted. His was not, and it made him very, very angry. So, the question I have for you is: have you gotten angry at God because you feel like you've done so much, you've sacrificed so much, but He's not hearing you? He's not accepting what you've done. He's not. He's God is deaf to your pleas. And so have you gotten angry about the situation? Well, God says even when Cain's offering wasn't accepted, God offered him a way out. And he said, God says to Cain, if you do well, why are you angry? What are you upset about? If you do well, your offering will be accepted. If you do not, sin crouches at your door, and you are the desire of sin, but you can rule over it. So, there's an opportunity there for you as well as me to see that it's about recognizing when there's difficulty. It's about looking at, well, where am I in relation to God? Where am I? Am I really doing all that I should? Or am I letting the things that are going on in the world become my excuse for not doing more? So let me back up a little bit. In this story, we see for the first time the law of polarity. And polarity is a universal law. There are 7 universal laws, and the law of polarity is one. If there's an up, there's a down. If there's cold, there's hot. There's a North Pole and a South Pole. So there's always opposites. And so in this law of polarity, we see that there are 2 ways to worship God. You can either do it according to God's command, or you can do it according to your own opinion and your own approach and your own, whatever's in your head. But, God is not really too interested in your opinion. He says, this is how I want you to worship. And in the Old Testament, there was, because of the distance and the disconnect created by the sin of Adam and Eve, there was no way for an offering to be accepted without the shedding of the blood. But Romans 5:20 tells us that where sin abounds, grace much more abounds. So if you understand that sin, not sins plural, but sin itself is part of man's nature that was caused by the fall, then you understand that God has created a path forward and a path back to Him. Now, just as a side note to this, I hope I'm not dating myself too terribly, but when I was a kid, there was a show on TV called The Smothers Brothers, and they were comedians, and I think one brother sang and one brother played a ukulele or something. But they had a running joke that was through every single show. This was part of their act, and that was "Mom always liked you best," And so whatever came up, where one son, the same brother, always felt like he had gotten the short end of the stick. His bottom line was always, "Well, Mom loved you best." And I feel that there's kind of a part of that that's running through the deal with Cain and Abel, because Cain ended up killing his brother. And I think part of that was jealousy, and part of it was, well, why did, God is showing that He loves you more than He loves me, because you've got this flock, you've got all these sheep, and you don't work any harder than I do, and I'm scratching out the ground every day, and I'm working hard, and your stuff is multiplied, and my stuff is, I'm just got these 3 little head of corn, and I'm just kind of ticked off about the whole thing. And so I just see that there was much more going on in the backstory of why Cain felt the way that he did. That it wasn't just Abel, it was more than just his sacrifice being accepted. It was also an underlying feeling that God was favoring Abel in some way, and this is all part of the sin nature, and all part of, we look for reasons to justify what we do, so he was just angry. I mean, he was jealous of his brother. He was angry, and he ended up acting out in a really, really, really bad way. But I mean, God still provided for him. There was still, even in the depths, God still provided for him. So when we so what did we do? What do we do when you're troubled and you don't know, when the whole world is turned upside down? You don't know what to look for, you don't know what to look at, you don't know where to turn, because this is stuff that's impacting the entire world. So where's the way out? What do you do? And I think this is a time when people are in so much pain. In order to survive with any level of sanity, I think part of it is beginning to look inward for more answers. We're looking for some leadership. It is just not there. We're looking for something from churches. Well, they're closed. So what do you do? What do you do? Well, I think the prophet Isaiah, has an answer for us in the 55th chapter, starting with the 6th verse. He said, here's your answer. Seek the Lord while He may be found. Call on Him while He is near. Let the wicked man forsake his own way, and the unrighteous man his own thoughts. Let him return to the Lord, that He, the Lord, may have compassion, and to our God, for He will freely pardon. So I think this is an opportunity. This time period is an opportunity for us. And if I have a desire for us, it is for us to stop the "oh, woe is me," to stop getting triggered by Karen, to stop getting upset by the visual images. Yes, they're traumatizing. Yes, there are problems. But this is about us, the people of God, really pulling together and calling on God that we have not done before. You know, let's be honest. Up until February, March, we all were very, very comfortable in our lives. We were very comfortable going to work every day, going, to church every Sunday, feeling kind of smug that we're putting our money in the box and having this expectation that God was going to do everything that we expected him to do. And our lives, I'm not saying that there weren't trouble spots, but on the whole, they're pretty, pain free. We didn't have to worry about if going to the barbershop or the nail salon was a death defying act. We did not have to worry about if we go to the grocery store, will there be toilet paper and other necessities, things that I need for my everyday life, will they be there? We didn't have to worry about that. And so there's a whole new normal, and I think part of our pain right now is that we just want things to go back the way they were. And part of our struggle is that part of us just, look, let's turn back the clock. Somebody turn the clock back, fix this mess. Let me go back. Because, I booked a trip to Spain and I want to get on that plane. All those things that we're going through right now. So, I hate to be the one to tell you, but I think this is the new normal. I don't think we're ever going to go back to the way things were. They make it better. I'm not saying it's always going to be like this, but there is an opportunity in this place, in this uncomfortable, drastic, unholy place that we find ourselves right now. There is an opportunity to call on God and discover him in a way that you have not experienced him before. So Isaiah tells you what the result will be. And if we go down to the 13th verse, it says, instead of the thorn bush, a cypress will grow, and instead of the briar, a myrtle will spring up. And they will make a name for the Lord, an everlasting sign, never to be destroyed. So that's you. And when I studied this a little bit, I discovered that a cypress is a tree. If you cut it, if you cut it, down, it grows back. And that is you, my beloved. That's you. You've experienced a lot of pain. You've been through some things, even before the stuff that's going on right now. You've had difficulties in life, and even if you've experienced like a spiritual cutting down, people rejected you, people didn't understand you, you've struggled with a lot of different things. Maybe learning has been difficult for you, or being comfortable around people has been difficult for you. But God is saying to you, all of those things that you feel cut you down, I'm going to bring everything back. I'm going to grow them back. And the things that you see as a weakness, he turns into your strength. So, I just really want you to be encouraged. Now let's talk about the myrtle. Now, myrtle is a bush, and the briar is, you've seen those thorny bushes where it just looks like you don't see leaves. All you see are thorns. There are thorns everywhere, and that's a briar. And he says a myrtle is going to replace that. Now, myrtle, if you take those leaves and crush myrtle, you get a beautiful, fragrant oil. And I discovered that oil is very good for meditation. It really helps you to, slow down. There's probably some physiological thing that happens to your heart rate and your breathing and all that when you breathe myrtle oil. But the point of it is that if you want to meditate, and he said meditate on his word day and night, this would help you to do that. So, God is providing something for you, even the things that you find difficult. He's providing these things for you. So where do we end up here? Where do we, what do we do? So we started, talking. We started with sacrifice, and so we're going to end up with sacrifice. We no longer are required to burn goats or pigeons and making our sacrifice and our atoning to God, because there was an ultimate sacrifice that was made for us. And we're told in Romans 12, starting with the first verse, to present our bodies a holy and living sacrifice, which is your reasonable service. So when you do that, and to transform your mind, change your mind, the way of thinking. And I think that transformation is something that perhaps the church has not focused on quite so much. Christ made the ultimate sacrifice for us. He went to the cross and sacrificed himself so that we could be reconciled to God. And what we're being called on is to present yourself, so don't focus on acquiring the next big thing, and that's, I'm really trying not to be critical. I'm really trying not to, but I think our churches have a bit too much of the world in them. Not all churches. I'm not condemning, but I think it's important, if we are going to survive this mess that we're currently in, it's important that we develop a new relationship with God. And that means presenting your body as a living sacrifice. But it also means transforming by the renewing of your mind and transforming yourself. And, it means changing the way you think. It means guarding your heart. If you know the man ain't right, don't, just stop fooling yourself. Stop playing games with your head and with your heart. If he stood you up, and comes in with some feeble, something came up, please, you're worth more than that. You are the pearl of great price. I'm talking to women now. You're the pearl of great price. Do not allow yourself to, because he'll come in now. I know he smells good, and he looks good, and he got those broad shoulders. I understand all that. But no. Avoid people, places, and things that trigger you. If you know that if you see a certain person, certain things are going to happen, then you don't go there. It's about getting serious about your life and about your relationship with God. We just really have to stop fooling ourselves and calling good bad and bad good. We've got to demand more of our leaders, and that includes our church leaders, because it's time out for milk. It's time out for oatmeal. It's time out for pablum. It's time for real meat of the word. You don't know what I'm talking about, And so, Jesus said, behold, I stand at the door and knock. Are you going to answer the door? Or are you going to say, oh, you're at the wrong house? It's up to you. It's completely up to you. So, my beloved, I just came by today for a quick minute just to share some thoughts with you on a path forward. I think for you and for me. And I just want to encourage you in the week coming up, that you separate yourself from the pain. Don't let the pain overwhelm you, but see the pain as separate from you. You are not the pain, and you can give it back to God. And if it's the pain of the things that are going on in the world, if it's the pain of your relationship is not working in the way that you thought it would, if it's the pain of your children acting plumb crazy because you got to deal with them 24/7, whatever your pain is, if you're not employed right now and you don't know where your next meal is coming from, whatever your pain is, he said where we started, give it to him. Give it, and I'm going to end with this. I'm going to end the way we started. Sing louder than your pain. Cry out to him. He says, there there are times when the last thing you want to do is to praise God. But sing louder. Overwhelm your pain with praise. And so that, my beloved, is where I'm going to close. And just remember that I love you. I love you. I truly love you. And everything you want is on the other side of fear. So until next time, be blessed. Love you. See you soon. Take care.